Welcome to the big story. I'm Gretchen Holt.
I'm Denise Tan.
And I'm Shania.
Tonight's big stories, done but not quite dusted. A House panel prepares its committee report after wrapping up hearings into how Vice President Sara Duterte's agencies spent confidential funds.
More names came out of the Committee on Good Government's hearing as recipients of OVP and DepEd's secret budget. But the Philippine Statistics Authority found that most lacked birth certificates.
And over in the disputed waters, a Chinese vessel and a Filipino vessel figured in yet another encounter. This time around, it did not involve water cannons, but a high-intensity laser.
Our top story for this Monday, it's a wrap for the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability. After 8 hearings, the panel is terminating its inquiry into the confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education.
Even on the last day of the investigation, lawmakers found more irregularities in the receipts of the OVP and DepEd. Both agencies, of course, were at one point under the leadership of VP Sara Duterte.
Now, what happens next to this month's or in this month's long probe is all up to one committee report, but already some lawmakers are talking about criminal charges. Marian Enrique with tonight's big story.
Even in earlier blue ribbon hearings, several suspicious names already floated. These were based on acknowledgement receipts submitted to the Commission on Audit by the Education Department before 2024 and the Office of the Vice President, both under Sara Duterte. First to be flagged were OVP confidential fund recipients Mary Grace Piatos and Kokoy Villamin. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA, there were no records found on the two, whether birth, marriage, or even death certificates. But there's more. PSA found that of close to 700 people that supposedly received money from DepEd, more than half lack birth records.
Tayo po ay sumulat upang isumite ang 677 pang pangalan na nakalagay sa acknowledgement receipt ng DepEd kung saan tayo po ay binigyan ng tugon ng Philippine Statistics Office dated December 8, 2024 at dito kanila pong sinasabi na out of 677 individuals, 405 ay walang birth certificate o walang record sa birth certificate o pwede nating sabihin na non-existent.
Lawmakers also see fraudulent patterns in the receipts. In the case of Kokoy Villamin, there were 2 receipts that bore different signatures. Then there were details which Assistant Majority Leader and Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Alonto Adyong noticed. In some acknowledgement receipts, 2 names appeared, a certain Sally Rendon from Surigao City and Sheila Dado from Digos City. The twist, they had the same signature with exact same strokes.
Taga Mindanao po ako, so alam ko po yung gaano kalayo ang Digos at ang Surigao. For me, Mr. Chair, only one person did these acknowledgement receipts, but merely changed his handwriting style from print to script in writing.
There were also 3 receipts from DepEd under a certain Alice Crescencio. Again, different signatures. More than that, the receipts were signed in different locations, Iligan City, Lanao del Sur, and Pasay City.
Tayo po ay na-scam sa pamamagitan ng libu-libong acknowledgement receipts na basta-basta lamang dinoktor.
At this point, evidence is so overwhelming. Lawmakers are certain there were indeed irregularities on how the OVP and DepEd spent its confidential budget. They're invoking Joint Circular Number 2015-01, which clearly states how secret funds should be used, handled, and liquidated. There could be violations in alleged instances when security officers Colonels La Chica and Nolasco were allowed to receive public money. Only Special Disbursing Officers Gina Acosta and Edward Fajarda can do so under the law. For ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro, there should be more hearings on the confidential expenses of the agencies of Vice President Duterte.
Dito lang natin makikita in transparency, no, yung ano ba talaga nangyari doon sa pondo? Kailangan makita natin dito yung pananagutan mismo ni Vice President, the most responsible po doon sa pondo.
If it is proven that there was misuse or misappropriation of confidential funds, VP Sara and her supposed cohorts could be charged for graft and corruption. That's according to Good Government Committee Vice Chairman Romeo Acop. And if the funds in question are at 612 million pesos as earlier pegged, this could be a clear case of plunder.
Nakakapagtaka rin ang obsession ni Vice President Sara sa confidential funds. Marahil ito'y dahil sa kalakip ng opacity at antas ng secrecy sa pag-disburse ng mga confidential funds na tila nagiging daan upang ito'y abusuhin ng walang accountability. If public funds are misused or misappropriated, or worse, if funds are diverted to personal use or benefit, and given the amount we are talking about here, this may be under the crime of plunder.
Legislators can still think of more possible charges from technical malversation, falsification of public documents, to corruption of public officers, bribery, and perjury. For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
Let's find out what happens next after the Good Government Committee wrapped up its inquiry. We have the panel's chairman himself, Representative Joel Chua. Welcome back to the big story, Congressman.
Hi, good evening, and thanks for having me tonight.
Congressman, I know you're wrapping up the inquiry, but I wanted to ask, since we're already getting into the thick of things, bakit po ba magtatapos na at ano po nangyari sa summon po natin kay Colonel Lachica and Colonel Nolasco who were in charge or were given the money by the Special Disbursing Officer? Aren't we going to unwrap that side of the investigation?
Well, wrapping up just for this year, but does not follow that we're already terminating the committee hearing. Insofar as Colonel Lachica and Colonel Nolasco are concerned, we were informed that the AFP is already conducting its internal investigation so as not to disrupt the said investigation. We are giving them the opportunity to conduct their own internal investigation.
Okay, Congressman Chua, confirm lang natin. No, earlier, you guys were clarifying in a press conference after the conclusion of the 8th hearing of the Committee on Good Government, no, that this is just, kumbaga, wrapping up the confidential fund part of the hearing.
Yes.
You guys mentioned na because si Congressman Valeriano at si Congresswoman Luistro, may iba pang ni-raise na issue that you will be carrying these issues or taking them up next year pagbalik ng Congress. Can we confirm lang?
Yes, you are correct. Because this is not only about confidential funds. If you will remember it correctly, the manifestation of Congresswoman Luistro concerns the budget of the DepEd, including the regular fund. That includes the issue concerning the computer.
Pero yung committee report, you also mentioned coming up with a partial committee report. We understand that has, of course, just to do with the confidential funds and all the findings from this committee hearing so far. Kailan po namin maaasahan itong partial committee report on the issue of confidential funds?
Well, kasi katatanggap lang namin nitong PSA, no, from the DepEd. We are still awaiting the certification of DepEd of PSA from the Office of the Vice President. So hopefully we will be able to get it as soon as possible. So magiging part po yan ng aming partial committee report.
Kong, would also like to get your take because the media actually caught up with Vice President Sara Duterte earlier today in Davao City, and we'd like to know what you think about this soundbite.
It's a welcome relief sa mga personnel ng Office of the Vice President and sa mga former personnel ng Department of Education na natapos na yung hearing kasi noon kada linggo sila nababalisa, anxious, parang tormented. Yung iba sa kanila takot para sa buhay nila. Ang ginamit na mga words, we're scared for our lives. Why are we being treated like convicts and fugitives? We are government workers. Mga ingana. So, it's a welcome relief na hindi na sila ipapatawag sa hearings sa Congress.
So, Kong, what do you make of those statements coming from VP Sara?
Well, that is only insofar as confidential fund is concerned. But when Congress resumes its session by next year, and we decided to open again our committee hearing, so baka sa iba pong topic, ipatawag din po sila.
Given the timing of things, I mean, we just heard the president say that he doesn't back impeachment, that in the greater scheme of things, the VP is unimportant and this is a waste of time. I mean, putting that side by side with your decision to wrap up the discussion on confidential funds, hindi po ba maiisip nila na sinusunod niyo po yung direksyon ng presidente?
Well, as you can see, dalawa na pong impeachment complaint ang naipafile sa House. And I heard na may another impeachment pa rin na ipafile. So baka maging tatlo na anytime soon. So wala naman pong kinalaman ito sa pronouncement ng ating presidente, because at the end of the day, it will be the Committee on Justice who will tackle this impeachment complaint. So now, if eventually the Committee on Justice ruled that there is sufficient in form and substance, so baka isampa pa rin po ito.
Okay, nabanggit rin kanina sa press ko, Congressman Chua, na some of the suggested amendments to existing legislation, because of course, in aid of legislation naman yung mga hearing, is a lot that requires CF or confidential fund disclosures on the way it's spent, and some penalties for its misuse. You guys were saying, at the current situation, very bare minimum lang yung accounting na kailangan nila gawin at yung liquidation na kailangan gawin given such huge amounts. But I was also wondering, because the COA also announced today that the Office of the President has actually spent some 2.2 billion, 2.3 billion the year before. So that's 2022 and 2023, over 4.5 billion. Meron din ba kayong plano na kilatisin kung paano nililiquidate yung confidential funds ng Office of the President?
Well, kung maalala po ninyo, ito po yung nag-emanate po ito because during the budget hearing, ayaw pong sumagot ng ating Vice President with respect dito nga po sa pag-spending po niya dito. And we believe that the Office of the Vice President, and not only the Office of the Vice President, there are some departments or agencies who do not deserve the confidential fund, primarily because the nature of their function does not involve national security, peace and order, and intelligence gathering. Unlike the Office of the President, ito po pala, ang Office of the President is the commander-in-chief ng ating lahat ng mga armed forces at saka ng mga iba't iba pang sangay ng gobyerno that requires the national security and peace and order. Kaya po, magkaiba po kasi ang kategorya ng Office of the President at saka ng Office of the Vice President as well as DepEd.
That's correct, but we do know that the agencies already have their confidential intelligence funds. The AFP already has theirs. Pagdating po sa security, I mean, wala po ba tayong planong accounting for the billions? I mean, it is a huge amount of money plus the security agencies already present CIF funds.
Yung parang redundant kasi, Kong? Or sasabihin na, okay, di naman sa tatanggalan yung presidente because I think his office is big enough to have CIF, not just confidential but also intelligence funds. Pero yung accounting part lang ba, Kong?
Kung meron pong mag-lodge ng complaint, bakit naman po hindi? But insofar as the Office of the President is concerned, sa amin pong paniniwala, magkaiba po kasi talaga yung kategorya nito. Unlike doon po sa iba.
Pero wala po ba tayong, hindi po ba tayo nanggigigil, malaman saan napunta yung pera no, kay Colonel La Chica, Colonel Nolasco? I mean, medyo nabitin po kami.
Alam po ninyo, they have their own internal investigation already. So we trust the AFP, the chain of command. So antayin po muna natin kasi mahirap naman po na pangunahan po natin yung kanilang investigasyon.
Okay. Nagbabakasakali lang kung kasi dati naman po pwede pa rin ipatawag kahit na may sarili ng investigasyon. But just to clarify, no, for other agencies, kasi lumabas na rin po yung issue na minsan kasi kung confidential funds, naka-sealed envelope lang daw yung liquidation nito at karaniwan hindi na nga ito binubuksan. So apart from the OP and the OVP, meron pa ba kayong plan na kilatisin, no, yung paggamit at pagka-discharge ng mga confidential funds ng iba pang civilian agencies, or kailangan pa ba may mag-complain muna bago natin tong kilatisin?
Well, ito naman po kasi based po to sa privilege speech tsaka sa manifestation ni Congresswoman. Hindi naman po to bigla na lamang po naming hinila out of the blues, no? So this is based on the privilege speech, and kung maalala po ninyo, during the committee hearing, Congresswoman Franz Castro requested the Commission on Audit, for a copy of the audit observation memo or the notice of disallowance of the Office of the Vice President. But it was only recently that we were able to get hold of this document. Kaya po, ito po yung pinag-ugatan po nito.
There is a third impeachment complaint that people are waiting for. Is it not coming from the majority? Would you have a clues as to where that's coming from?
I heard over the news a while ago na yung other third impeachment complaint, according to, I think, to the SecGen, that it will be coming from a religious sector. So I do not know how
Actually, Kong, it was right. SecGen Velasco said that it's coming from right. Galing kay SecGen Velasco nga siya yung kumbaga tumimbre sa media na magkakaroon pala ng third. I think the initial
yun lang po yung basis ko
Ayun lang din. So wala pa kayong alam kung saan siya manggagaling apart from yung what we already know.
But Congressman, what is your...
Papakinggan ko lang po siya sa news
Okay.
What is your sense of the timing of this? Meron po nagsasabi na, naku, wala ng oras, medyo gipit na talaga sa panahon. May nagsasabi naman na dapat ngayon na kasi pagka nag-antay pa talaga, talagang may iba na ihip ng hangin. I mean, isn't that effort lost as well for everything that's been uncovered in the hearings?
Well, ako kasi right from the very beginning, yun din naman ng concern ko, the timing, no? Because as we all know, by next year, by February, magsisimula na po yung national campaign. Then by March, yung local campaign. So medyo very challenging ngayon yung oras ng lahat.
Okay, and lastly lang siguro, no, Kong, at least from me, earlier wala pong confirmation from anyone on the panel na magkakaroon nga, na magre-recommend yung committee to file charges against the Vice President. Can we confirm na parang talagang wala kayong recommendations to file any charges against the VP?
Well, kanina doon sa presentation po, yung po yung mga paniniwala ng mga miyembro na baka po ito po ay pwedeng tignan yung mga crimes that were discussed a while ago during the committee hearing. So by the time that we meet again with the members, that's the time na pag-uusapan po namin what to do next.
Okay, so for now, what else can the public wait for? There's still a few more session days to go before the Christmas break. Ano po yung kinabibisihan ninyo dyan sa komite, pati na rin siguro sa Quadcom?
Sa committee, sa totoo lang, I will have to admit na talagang medyo nahihirapan din ako kung mag-master ng quorum because of the busy schedule that each and every congressman are having right now dahil nga po alam naman natin na halos lahat yan, mga kandidato rin. So may kanya-kanyang distrito rin sila na inaasikaso on top dito sa mga committee hearings, dito rin po sa pag-attend ng session. So by this time po siguro, kasi hanggang next week na lang po ang Congress. So siguro hopefully by next year, baka medyo mapag-usapan po namin once nag-resume po ang Congress.
Mukhang nagbabago na nga po ang ihip ng hangin, pati ang panahon. But we will be waiting for the recommendations from your committee. Maraming salamat in the meantime. Thank you so much for joining us. Good Government Committee Chairman, Congressman Joel Chua.
All right, up next, are there more fictitious names listed as recipients of confidential funds from the Office of the Vice President and DepEd? We'll ask the Philippine Statistics Authority when we return. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back to the Washington-based story here on One News. Lawmakers say they're clueless about rumors of a third impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte in the works. And rumor has it that the complaint could possibly be filed by a religious group. Last week, House Secretary General Reginald Velasco said some lawmakers expressed their intention to file another impeachment complaint against the Vice President this week. But here's Lanao del Sur 1st District Congressman Zia Alonto Adyong's answer to that.
Well, let's see, kasi I personally do not want to preempt. I haven't read the complaint, and I have to discuss this, and I will definitely, should be invited, will attend the Committee on Justice. So let's see what are the merits, the case, what are the evidences presented.
As of last update, Sec. Gen Velasco still has not transmitted the first two impeachment complaints to House Speaker Martin Romualdez because they're still waiting for the legal department's comments and recommendations. Per House rules, once received by the House Secretary General, the impeachment complaint has to be immediately referred to the Speaker, who should then include the complaint in the order of business, after which the complaint should reach the Justice Committee within 3 days.
We have to face reality. By next year, come February, national campaign na. By March, local campaign. Kami nga ngayon, nahihirapan ako mag-master ng quorum. Right from the very beginning naman, I am consistent naman na kung merong ground, meron naman talaga. But ang concern ko talaga is yung time. Yung time element, di ba?
And speaking of public funds, over 400 out of the 677 individuals listed as alleged beneficiaries of confidential funds from both the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education under Vice President Sara Duterte appear to have no civil registry records with the Philippine Statistics Authority. Citing PSA data, House Good Government Committee Chairman Joel Chua said that these 405 people have no records of live birth and thus could be deemed non-existent. Aside from Mary Grace Piatos and Kokoy Villamin, there were also names like Milky Sequia and Alice Crescencio, all of whom, the PSA said, have no civil registry records.
Let's delve deeper with Marisa Grande. She is a Assistant National Statistician from the PSA. Magandang gabi po sa inyo.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, Ms. Marisa, can you tell us all the things that you've uncovered with the PSA? Ano po yung mga natuklasan po natin dun sa 600 names, 400 po, I believe, wala po sa datos.
Tama po kayo, Ms. Gretchen. 405 out of the 677 list of individuals na pina-verify ng ating pong House of Representatives ay nagresulta po sa negative verification, which means wala po kaming record ng birth, marriage, or death records in the PSA database.
Okay. How about the 200 other names?
Well, based on the verification po, meron po tayong match na with existing record, either one or multiple names. As some of these also are considered as possible na mga common names po. Kaya we need additional data to confirm, para ma-confirm po talaga natin in conclusive the existence of records sa ating pong database.
Okay, at ang tanong daw, sorry Denise, ang tanong daw Marisa is, are you expecting to get any extra information para makatulong sa inyong search? Or umaasa pa ba tayo or hindi na masyado? Na makakuha tayo na extra?
As it appears, wala po silang may bigay na ibang datos kundi listahan based doon sa nag-assign doon sa acknowledgement receipt. So, but what I'm saying is that based on our records, dun sa mga pangalan, on the limited information that were provided, only 405 resulted to negative verification po.
Okay. Ms. Marisa, can you talk us through the process of confirming all of these names, lalo na ngayon, 600 plus names po yung ibinigay sa inyo?
Well, yung datos po kasi natin, meron po tayong mga parameters, minimum requirements, which is yung pangalan nga. If we can search further, we have other information needed such as date of birth, place of birth or pangalan ng parents. But since wala nga po tayong additional information, we base our verification on the name that was provided sa atin po. And we therefore confirm na 405 ay negative sa aming pong record, which means uh, wala pong nag-exist na birth record sa PSA po. And there could be other possibilities na pwede po silang walang birth certificate or need other further documents to confirm kung sila po ba ay talaga nag-exist.
Miss Marisa, curious po ako, pasensya na. Pero meron po bang may last name na Piatos
Kasi
sa Pilipinas?
May mga nagsasabi na meron po pero isa lang yung T.
Meron ba?
Well, based doon kay Mary Grace Piatos ay nag-negative po yung ating resulta doon sa
So wala, zero.
Piatos na double T.
Double T.
But
Okay.
we have existing record for Piatos with a single T.
Okay. So that kind of matches with what Deputy Chief of Staff ni VP si Lemuel Ortonio sinabi niya, meron akong kilalang Piatos pero single T. Sinabi rin ni Gina Acosta noon na meron daw siyang kilalang Piatos, hindi lang niya sure kung Mary Grace yung pangalan.
Maka-typo.
So,
Hindi
okay.
ba pwedeng
But
ganun?
there
kasi
is no,
we're asking
there's
Miss
no
Marisa.
record
Oo. Sige, carry on.
pertaining to Mary Grace Piatos na even the single T, negative din po yan sa amin.
Pero merong mga tao na Piatos. So kumbaga meron talagang last name na Piatos, single T. Kasi meron pong
Yes
concerned
po.
citizen po nag-message, nagko-comment po sa live stream nila Denise. Kaya kailangan namin itanong sa inyo, meron ba talaga
Meron
mga...
daw, ang
So
sabi,
meron.
madami daw yung surname na yon sa Davao.
Pero single T.
Pero single
Sa
T.
Davao?
Oo, sa Davao.
Oo, yun ang sabi ng netizen na nag-comment. Ano?
Isa pang clarification no, Miss Marisa, itong 677 names, sa isang office lang ba ito or combined na ito sa OVP pati sa DepEd?
I think the first list that was provided po ay sa DepEd. There's a second submitted list, ongoing verification po.
Hindi po ba maaaring nickname ang inilagay? Kaya hindi po nagmamatch?
Usually po yung list na binigay nila consists of I assume the first and the last name.
So dapat official records
Pero
po yan,
yun nga
ano?
hindi naman malalaman na nung PSA kung sinabmit yung name, diba, Miss Marisa? Kung sinabmit ko alias, talagang baka hindi nyo na talaga mahanap or baka sakali pang may ibang mabintangan dahil magkapareho sila ng name. Tama po ba?
Yeah,
We're not
that's
sure.
why medyo careful tayo in releasing the personal information ng mga datos, especially po yung mga match because we don't know if may mga kababayan po kasi tayo na
Maapektuhan.
common name na tinatawag po natin na magkakapangalan.
What other patterns did you see here? Like in terms of the signatures and the names, meron po ba kayo napapansin dun sa pag-check nyo nung buong data?
Well, what was submitted to PSA is only the list of the names. So wala po kaming datos ng specimen signature and maybe we can refer it to the authorities to conduct further investigation on the specimen signature.
Parang sa NBI nga po yata yun, no, yung mga signature analysis at handwriting analysis nila. Pero Miss Marisa, kumbaga, sa inyo sa PSA, may other trends pa ba kayo or patterns na uncover? Or wala? Talagang it's just literally a list of names, tapos i-check nyo lang?
It's a list of names and it's a large number. So talagang iniisa-isa namin thoroughly yung verification. And that's what we're doing. We're just relying on the limited information. So what we're saying to the public is that based on the names that were provided, ito po yung result ng aming verification.
Ay, ma'am, sa inyo pong karanasan, does the cross-checking often happen with the records of COA? Or is it the first time that you're doing this?
I cannot recall specific cases, but there might be kasi marami po tayong mga different government agencies that conduct verification not only on auditing, like for example sa BIR, meron po tayong mga verifications na ginagawa.
Miss Marisa, yung speaking of cases, no, may mga nagsasabi na posible daw po ba na kaparehas ito dun sa case ni former Banbantalak Mayor Alice Go na ang kinailangan lang ay late birth registration?
Well, we cannot say that based kasi nga po limited po yung mga information that were provided to the PSA. But if additional information can be submitted, then we will investigate po.
Okay, last question na lang, Ms. Maris. Nabanggit nyo under verification pa yung isa pang listahan at yun nga yung inaabangan, pati nung House Committee. Mga may tentative ba tayo na release date kung kailan yung matatapos? And do you have any idea, can you share with us, mga gaano karaming pangalan yung nasa pangalawang listahan?
It's a lot of lists that were submitted to PSA for verification and ongoing po yung aming verification ngayon sa aming pong mga back offices and we will probably release in 2 to 3 days, baka sa Wednesday po because naka 50% pa lang po kami ngayon sa aming verification. And we ensure that this is a priority of the PSA. Medyo talagang madami, so we're doing a lot of verifications for this conduct of investigation.
Oh, Ms. Marissa, we do appreciate you and your hard
Wait,
work.
teka lang, may last question lang ako kasi sobrang curious lang ako. Kailangan ko lang itanong. Ms. Marissa, kunwari, ito nga yung listahan, no? Example yung name ni Mary Grace Piatos. Paano po yung steps niyo? Like, i-enter nyo, may database naman yan sa computer, di ba? Do you enter it Mary Grace Piatos, then do you try to like Mary Grace one word, then do you try to remove a T? Kumbaga yung mga typos and close spellings, do you guys do that also?
Yeah, we have parameters to use in the verification of birth, such as yung last name and the first name. And yun nga, because of this limited information, we're just relying on the verification of the first name and the surname.
Okay, at nagtatanong po yung producer namin, yung mga the 200 plus names no, na medyo may kapareho. Mga common names po ba ito? Example, Juan de la Cruz,
Ano yung
Paulo Santos.
pinaka-common?
Parang ganun po bang type of names?
Yan, napakarami po talaga nung may single match na mga information and there are also some that resulted to multiple match, which means very common siguro talaga yung name kaya madaming lumabas. And that information is already submitted to the committee for further investigation.
Okay, so kumbaga hindi nyo na ma-narrow down even further based dun sa mga
Yeah,
matches.
because we need information on the date of birth, place of birth, and at least one name of the parent.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much for joining us tonight and sharing with us all you've discovered. Marisa Grande, Assistant National Statistician from the PSA.
Up next, President Marcos signs 3 new laws today. One grants non-resident tourist VAT refunds. The details when we return.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. The tensions in the West Philippine Sea continue to escalate as China intensifies its actions. Apart from using water cannons against Philippine vessels, Chinese vessels have also deployed the use of lasers and have targeted 2 ships of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, last December too. According to BFAR, BRP Datu Matanam, Taradapit, and BRP Datu Tamlot were in the vicinity of Hasa-Hasa Shoal, which is 60 nautical miles off Palawan, when the Chinese vessel pointed their laser at them. The Chinese ship used the laser at least 6 times and lasted for about 5 minutes. The high-intensity lasers can cause blindness and are dangerous for the crew on board. This incident happened 2 days before the Chinese Coast Guard blasted water cannons on BFAR's BRP Datu Pagbuaya near Bajo de Masinloc. The Philippine Coast Guard has yet to issue a statement on the incident.
President Bongbong Marcos has signed 3 significant laws today. The first being the Mental Health and Well-being Promotion Act. This law aims to strengthen mental health programs in schools given the alarming rise in cases of students with suicidal tendencies in the country. According to DepEd, there was a significant jump in mental health cases from 250 in 2023 to 1,500 this year.
This law aims to bridge that gap by embedding mental health services directly into our schools, our nation's first line of defense against mental health issues.
PBBM has also signed the VAT refund law. The law allows non-resident tourists to claim a VAT refund for purchases of at least 3,000 pesos worth of local goods from accredited retail outlets.
We anticipate an increase in tourist spending, considering that this will elevate the value proposition of Philippine tourism, as we can now add a very attractive shopping component to tourism in the country.
The last law signed today was Republic Act 12078, or the amendment of the Agricultural Tarification Act. The Rice Comprehensive Enhancement Fund, or RCEF, only spans 6 years. Now, through this amendment, the program will extend until 2031 and funds will increase to 30 billion pesos per year compared to the original 10 billion pesos.
We were just talking about last week how the president always signs bills into law in twos. And this week, he outdid us.
Tatlo.
Oo nga.
Nakatatlo ang presidente natin, ano? Pero yung Mental Health Act, matagal na inaantay yan, especially with providing a specific office to take care of that. So mukhang there's a care center equipped to deliver mental health services, including counseling and monitoring, providing necessary support for learners and even staff.
And actually, that yung ideal nila is to put an office, parang may isang counselor per school. Again, the law is really great, but ako, bilang medyo jaded ako of late, gusto ko lang makita na ma-execute nila yan. Diba? Saan tayo kukuha ng pera, the logistics, mahirap rin yan. Wala pa nga
teachers. Sa teacher pa lang, hirap na. Guidance counselors pa lang, kulang na.
Actually, maraming balita rin today. Bukas, mixed yung galaw ng gasolina. So kung gas kayo, magiging mas mahal siya. Kung diesel kayo, magiging mas mura siya. Pero meron is pa nangyari, guys. And that's our big picture for tonight. Mount Canlaon sa Negros Island. The volcano had another explosive eruption at past 3 o'clock this afternoon, sending out thick ash plumes and June 3 episode that affected residents of 18 villages across Negros Occidental. The Social Welfare Department has activated its response clusters to aid victims of the eruption. Ayan na, 2 times na sumabog si Mount Canlaon. I don't know if it's trying to send us a message.
Tsaka level 3 na
Level
kagad.
3. Pangalawa na rin kasi in like about 6-5 months. And actually yung isa naming kasamahan sa house, malapit siya sa Mount Canlaon. Sabi nung family niya, nung kids niya sa kanya, is narinig daw nila yung eruption, yung kalabog.
At least walang nasaktan as of what we know today,
so far.
including yung sa Taal, or recently magkasunod yun. So we hope it stays that way.
And praying, of course, for everybody na might be affected by that kay ashfall man or yung takot na nararanasan mo. Diba? Hirap rin kasi matulog na, diba? May sumasabog na bulkan na naririnig mo nearby. Okay? on that note, ilang araw na lang ba bago magpasko?
Naku,
18?
napakalapit na. 18 na lang, 2 linggo na lang.
Binilang mo?
Oo, hindi nakita ko.
Gusto ko lang sabihin, kanina nung nagde-drive ako papunta sa work, parang wala masyadong sasakyan.
Baka nasa party na.
Alam mo na, hula ko. Kanina sabi ko, dahil tinatamad na ba mga tao pumasok dahil Monday? Pero na-realize ko, kahapon pala was the Feast of Immaculate Conception.
Oh,
And it's
actually,
probably a holiday today that was separated pala from December 8th kasi Advent Sunday today. And then today is the official celebration of that.
It's an official solemnity. Although walang official cancellation, di ba? Pero parang tayo, Gretch, galing tayo sa Marian School, di ba? Talagang laging walang pasok pagka feast day ng Immaculate.
Inusog lang.
Inurong lang.
Saka maraming Christmas party ngayong araw na to.
Including ours.
Bukas, magbabalik po ang traffic. Abangan po natin
Doon
yan.
muna kami susunod sa Christmas party namin. Again, thank you for watching. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
With a lot to look forward to, especially this week with celebrations and all. Kasama na dyan yung MVP Christmas Special. That will be happening this coming Thursday. And we will be airing that also, especially our year-enders as well are coming up. A lot in store for December. In the meantime, stay tuned because coming up next is Play-by-Play with Andre Felix and Cheska Litton-Calao. Sa inyo ba may ganap? Marami ba?
Nakakain ba kayo ng lechon?
Medyo. UAP, NBA.
Ay, panalo UP
I have a question.
What?
Bakit ako nung on my way to work, ang dami kong cars nakasabay?
Magkabaliktad na lane kayo ng
Baka kasama ko si Mama Mary sa aking
Baka.
pagdaan.
Pero weekend, grabe traffic. Grabe because of the sales and nag-extend nga yung malls hanggang 11 p.m. So may oras ka pa, Tita Gretch, to buy our gifts.
Ate ako, di ba?
Ate ka nga pala.
Nagtatalunan pa nga sila kung papayagan ba mag-mall-wide sale, hindi papayagan
Correct.
mag-mall-wide sale.
At since marami kayong pera, bilan nyo na kami ng regalo.
Marami kaming pera kasi wala kaming
Every
oras.
night, Monday to Friday,
9 to
9
9:30.
to 9:30 p.m.
After Big
Andito na
Story.
kami.
Akit na kayo doon, inaantay na kayo doon. Baka nanalo kayo sa raffle. Thank you again, Ate Gretch, Tita Denise, and of course, Tita Sean. Well, we've got a huge milestone for the point guard, Chris Paul, headlining tonight's NBA updates, plus a recap of Game 1 of the UAAP Men's and Women's Basketball Finals.
And we tell you about the biggest contract in sports history.
Biggest.
Biggest. As baseball star Juan Soto agrees to a deal worth a whopping $765 million.
Woo! What a contract. We wish we had the same. I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Litton-Calao.
And here's tonight's Play-by-Play.
On the left side. Oh, the pass! Rejecting Esteban for the